Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Security guard beaten in attempted robbery of ATM in Mandeville. Millions to be spent on market renovation works in the corporate area. And later in sports, West Indies lose third and final one-day international against South Africa. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shane Masters and here are the details. Millions of dollars is expected to be spent by the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KCMC, to upgrade the Market District and arcades within the corporate area. Kingston's Mayor Delroy Williams made the announcement at the latest sitting of the Municipal Corporation. Details in this report. Vendors in downtown Kingston will soon have adequate space to carry out their trade. This as efforts are being made by the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, to renovate a number of the dilapidated market structures in the city. Vendors are usually caught in a tizzy with members of the security forces, as they more times than not have been selling in no vending areas, leading to their goods being seized. But Kingston's Mayor Delroy Williams is hoping those kind of engagements will be fewer when the market spaces are made available. 2 markets and an arcade are being looked at now. They are the Jubilee and Queen's Markets and the Redemption Arcade.
We have already contacted the Ministry of Local Government for the Ministry to consider assisting the municipality with those markets. All those markets are basically adjacent. They are in the same location. And we believe that if we address all 3, then the impact would be greater if you treat all 3. And then it would also help us to remove the vendors from the streets in those areas.
Mr. Williams says the work on the Redemption Arcade and the Queen's Market is dependent on funds from the local government ministry. For the Jubilee Market, which was destroyed by fire over 10 years ago, Mr. Williams says the renovation works on that facility is approximately 90% completed.
And when I say 90%, we are just looking at the flooring for the market. So the market is basically complete. It's just that we're looking at the flooring and before we move to open. And when we're thinking about the flooring, we're not just thinking about aesthetics, but we're thinking about maintenance.
Other markets are to be renovated as well.
We have already started a design that we have shared with the UDC for the general Oxford Mall area, which is going to require greater input from the UDC and other agencies, because that would include the railway ground. And we met with the vendors at railway ground, and there are some options we are looking at.
That option includes the use of the area for the regular market and for use by taxi operators as well as for parking.
So if it is at all possible and the vendors don't have a problem with incorporating public transport and parking into the general area, but that means that we'd have to incorporate the Oxford Mall into the general upgrade of the area.
Heightened concerns this afternoon after another shocking case of attempted robbery and vandalism at an automated teller machine, this time in Mandeville, Manchester. It's understood that thieves tried to steal cash from the vault of a National Commercial Bank ATM at the Reliance Centre on Manchester Road around 2 o'clock Tuesday morning. However, they were unsuccessful in their attempts to retrieve the cash. Sources say the security guard at the facility was also injured by the armed men during the incident. Now the business community is raising concerns.
It's very disturbing because you're not really sure where they're going to strike next. Because if they're striking on a Sunday, on the weekend, in the middle of the day, and then they're attempting to take the ATM machine out, they're going to extreme lengths.
It comes just over 24 hours after a daring robbery at a Scotiabank ATM in Portmore, St. Catherine on Sunday. There have also been numerous cases of vandalism and theft at ATMs island-wide since the start of the year.
Where is it coming from? What is the root cause? And are we looking to have more of these coming up, and what it is we can do to put in place, different strategies, different things in place? How can we partner with the police to eliminate this as quickly as they can, because they don't want this to escalate. None at all.
A step in the right direction. That comment from economist and financial analyst Ralston Hyman in reaction to Prime Minister Andrew Holness's announcement last week that all fees will be removed for courses up to associate degrees at the Hart NSTA Trust. The move is expected to provide thousands with an opportunity to get vocational training at the institution.
The private sector, they have been complaining that they are not getting the kind of workers that they need, to the extent where everybody, including the Prime Minister, have been talking about importing workers. We do not want to go that direction because we have a lot of people untrained on the street corners that are becoming members of the criminal gangs that are costing the country so much. So we need to train these people. So removing the fees and the admin expenses up to level 4 is a step in the right direction. We need to go further though and to partner with the private sector to work with the people who are already on the job but have no certification in order to complete the process.
The new policy is slated to take effect on April 1. According to the Prime Minister, over 133,000 trainees are enrolled in courses and more than 50,000 have been certified so far this year. That's an increase of 48% over the previous year. A cohort tracer study of graduates conducted during the 2022-23 financial year showed that 91% were working full-time jobs and 83% indicated that they utilized the technical skills learned in their current or previous jobs. The Health and Sanitation Committee at the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation has called for an inspection to be done at the fire department in the parish. The call comes a week after a lone fireman protested about poor working conditions that could pose a potential risk to public safety. During his demonstration last Tuesday, Sergeant Leo Bennett claimed that firefighters do not have laundry facilities to wash clothing after coming into contact with hazardous materials. Therefore, the emergency responders are forced to take them home to be cleaned. Chairman of the St. Catherine Public Health and Sanitation Committee, Sidney Rose, says this is concerning and should be investigated and addressed accordingly.
And you know, when you take these clothes home, it is transmitted beyond just the fire station, but to their families and their families into the general public. So we are looking at what could have been termed of a disaster waiting to happen. So I'm asking the powers that be, the fire department, the head of the fire department, and the minister and Ministry of Local Government by extension, under which the fire department falls, to treat with this matter very, very urgently before it becomes a disaster.
Despite efforts by the Health Ministry, fewer parents are taking their children to be immunized. So it seems to be back to the drawing board for the ministry's immunization project. Shamala Pullen has this TVJ News follow-up.
In December 2022, TVJ News highlighted concerns from the Ministry of Health about the decline in the country's general vaccine take-up rate, especially among children. A public education campaign dubbed Mop-Up Catch-Up was subsequently launched, aimed at encouraging parents to take their children to get their scheduled immunization. But months later, the issue still persists.
This campaign would have started in October of last year, and it has been extended until August 31st. And so we are looking at capturing those children who should have been vaccinated, but for some reason would have missed their appointments. And so we're looking to, as we call it, a mop-up. It's an ongoing process, but of course we're targeting or paying special target during this time.
These vaccines, which include polio, rubella, and measles, are important as they protect children from serious illness and other health complications. For this reason, Medical Officer of Health for the Parish of St. James, Dr. Tanique Bailey-Small, made this appeal to the St. James Municipal Corporation monthly meeting last week.
And so I want to encourage parents, teachers, counselors as well, in terms of encouraging persons who, especially for the children who have not been vaccinated, and there may be some unwillingness for them to come in to get vaccinated, but just to encourage them. So of course we need the support of the schools, the communities, parents, and we just want to encourage that we encourage everyone to work with us.
Dr. Bailey Small says the health department continues to monitor the 22 health centers in the parish. In the meantime, the health department says it continues to monitor dengue cases in the parish.
COVID-19 is still present, while we're seeing a definite increase in the numbers of positive cases, but certainly we still have to remain vigilant. Vaccination, we still have vaccines available, so the option is there. For example, influenza, well, this is the flu season. As we look in comparison to where we started in October, November, the numbers of respiratory cases have trended downwards, but of course we still have to remain vigilant. The flu vaccine is still available, and so we encourage persons to make use of the opportunity.
Citizens are again reminded to take the necessary steps to avoid an outbreak. Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
And it's time for a break here on the Midday News. Stay with us, much more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. Head of the Portland Police, Superintendent Darby, is urging more young people in the parish to join the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF. Speaking at the Portland Municipal Corporation's monthly meeting recently, Superintendent Darby suggested that this is one way to ensure that they will not get involved in any illegal activities.
It is a job where if you are committed, you can make a good life, contribute positively to the country, to your community, be a role model, which is so needed nowadays amongst the youths. And so instead of persons journeying miles and miles to St. Mary at the Era 2 headquarters, expending a lot of bus fare or gas money, persons can just come to the Port Antonio police station on every other Friday.
Superintendent Darby also believes more interventions are needed for young people, especially in Portland. He is also encouraging them to get involved in another critical program for police, cadets.
The training school, persons from 15 to 17 can enroll. It's a school. Over 23 subjects are taught at that school. And there's a stipend given to the participants, the young persons there, and most of it is saved for when they finish, because they are fed at the school, and they have a good money when the program is finished.
And it's now time for the Business Minute.
Jamaica is seeing an increase in tourists using non-hotel accommodation options such as Airbnb. Speaking at the launch of the Bengal Cove development in St. Ann, Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett said the new sub-accommodation industry has increased the earning potential for more Jamaicans in the tourism value chain.
Last year, 29% of the 2.6 million stopover visitors that came to Jamaica were in the shared economy, otherwise called Airbnb. 29%. I'm going to save the dollar figure for my budget speech, so forgive me for that.
Bengal Cove Villas is a new luxury development on the north coast with 15 units, including 5 villas, 6 semi-detached units, and penthouses. Further afield, online retail giant Amazon is laying off more employees. In a memo to staff Monday, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy said 9,000 jobs will be cut. That's on top of the 18,000 they already cut earlier this year. The Amazon CEO said the fresh round of job cuts will take place in the coming weeks. And those working in the company's web services, people experience and technology solution, advertising and Twitch will be affected. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Hal Shane Burke.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a High Court judge has ruled in favor of claimants who legally challenged the government in relation to its COVID-19 vaccine policy. Under the vaccine mandate implemented in December 2021, public sector workers who the Minister of Health had deemed to be frontline workers were required to be vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus. Any unvaccinated worker who attended work was considered to be absent and after 10 days was deemed to have abandoned the job. However, in the court ruling, the judge says employees who were fired for failing to receive a COVID-19 vaccine by December 2021 are still employed by the government and are entitled to their salaries and benefits as well as punitive damages. On the international scene, protests actions have turned violent in Paris. This after the government narrowly survived a no-confidence vote, which has cleared the way for an increase in the retirement age from 62 to 64. There was heavy security outside the French Parliament on Monday, with the first of two.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, Jermaine Brown will have your midday sports report.